Time for the Air Canada cross-country check-in, and we begin in Toronto. The Deputy Mayor, Doug Holyday, is urging Mayor Rob Ford to address accusations he uses crack cocaine. Mayor Ford has since been silent ever since these allegations were made public last week. Joining us now live from City Hall is the Deputy Mayor himself, Doug Holyday. Welcome to Canada Live, sir.
My pleasure.
Tell me, what do you make of these allegations and the fact that the mayor is still remaining mum about these allegations?
Well, I think he has to say something, and I've said the sooner the better. I think the reason that he hasn't spoken up is because he's been advised by lawyers that the less he says, the better. But I think there's a time when he has to say something, and I think it's now.
Sir, you've been in politics for quite some time. Tell me, have you ever seen such a media circus take place or erupt at City Hall or in Toronto?
No, I have not. This morning I was just amazed at the number of media that were scrummed around me over this matter.
What kind of questions are you facing? Because quite frankly, a lot of folks are now looking at you for answers. You are the deputy mayor. Did you ever think you'd be playing such a key role at this point in time? No, I didn't, but it's part of the job, and if the mayor was sick or the mayor was out of the country for some reason, I would have to fulfill the duties of the mayor while that period existed. And certainly I'm prepared to do that. You mentioned some of the questions that have come my way. I guess the media's been asking about business here at City Hall, whether it's going to continue on as normal, and yes, it is. The system here is such that it doesn't depend on any one person, including the mayor. And as I mentioned, the mayor could be in the hospital, or he could be out of the country, or not able to fulfill his job for any reason. But the business of the city still goes on, and it still will go on. I want to ask you a little bit about the business at City Hall. You say it's business as usual. It's so hard to believe when I look at all this footage of massive cameras, tons of reporters, not only from Toronto, but worldwide, descending upon City Hall, trying to get some answers on what's become quite a salacious scandal. I understand you're speaking to the mayor this afternoon, is that right, as part of an executive committee?
We're going to have a briefing for the executive committee this afternoon, and I will be speaking with the mayor, and again we'll be discussing this situation. But when I say business is going on at the city as usual, you know, people are still getting their city services. The water still comes out of the tap. The fire department's still on duty. People can still use the parks. We're issuing permits. Our committee meetings are taking place. Council took place on Tuesday. All that normal business of the city is being looked after.
Okay, so all the folks at home, people living in Toronto, clearly don't have anything to worry about. Their services, as you say, are being maintained. It's business as usual. What then do you make of all this intense scrutiny of the mayor? And I say that given the breaking news that the video, this alleged video that apparently exists, is now missing in action.
Well, there again, you know, the whole thing came under a cloud right from the outset.
Yeah.
We've got two reporters sitting in the back seat of a car looking at a small video screen on a phone, seeing something that they think is the mayor, in the company of crack cocaine dealers, you know, drug dealers. I don't know, it just seems to me that it would have a lot more credibility if they had got the video.
With all due respect, I don't think you're the only one who's puzzled by this. A lot of people think he's being vilified, that Rob Ford is being vilified. He's maybe not the cuddliest mayor that the city's ever seen, but what do you make of all this scrutiny and, shall I say, these attacks that he's been facing day in and day out?
Well, he has to address them. You know, it's not his fault he's being attacked, but he is being attacked, and if he doesn't come out and address the matter, then the story told by the Toronto Star is the only story that people have to deal with. If the mayor comes out with a different version or with another side to the story, then people can make up their own minds.
What happens if the mayor continues to remain mum about these allegations? At what point do you have to step in and say, we've got to carry on here? What's the process involved there?
But, well, the mayor's the mayor. He's elected, and you know, he has the right to remain the mayor, and just because people have made allegations against him doesn't mean he has to step aside or that he can't do his job. And it's not up to me to go and try to throw him out of his chair. if he was charged criminally or if he resigned or something, that's a different matter. But that has certainly not come to that.
What are you going to ask him this afternoon when you see him?
Well, I'd like to ask him when he's going to make a statement. I think not just myself, but other members of the executive, they're preparing a letter that asks him to make a statement. And they also want to notify the residents of Toronto, because I guess they've had concerns from their residents that business is as usual here and that things will continue and that we can get around this.
I would think, sir, with all the business that you have to attend to, this is probably the last thing you want to be dealing with or that you would anticipate having to deal with.
Well, that's for sure. It's taken up a lot of time this last week.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us and talking about this major scandal that's erupting at City Hall. We appreciate your time.
Thank you.
That is, of course, Toronto Deputy Mayor Doug Holyday talking about the mayor, Rob Ford.